Hello and welcome back to the Voice of Metal. Hopefully everybody out there is doing just fine. Wait and see what happens. Kind of some interesting stuff that's happening in the metal world right now. A few little things that I've seen some articles about. Um, for one, is Lamb of God has created a new cover with Creator. And I thought that was rather interesting. Um, so it'd be interesting to hear what that sounds like. I did hear a little bit from Creator itself because I was looking down through different bands and stuff like that, and something that's close to it, and I ran across them, and then I saw the Lamb of God thing. I thought, oh, that's interesting. So I did get to hear a little bit of it. I didn't hear the whole song. I was kind of flipping through a bunch of different stuff, kind of getting a few new different bands out there that are not well known. Hopefully, you guys might know who they are. Doesn't mean that everybody does. Like me, I don't know all the bands out there. Um, Apparently, my title didn't change like I was thought I had saved it. I'll have to get that changed later on. But anyway, this is gonna be a little bit about Megadeth and some other stuff. It's rather interesting. Right now, apparently, the Who has launched a video with Mogul. Okay, sorry, with Alice in Chains Williams Duvall, which is rather interesting. It'd be kind of cool to see that, so I'll have to check that out. But I think it says launched as a video, but really what it is a concert in the metaverse. It looks like, so I might not be able to see that one, which I don't have the stuff to get on the metaverse. I gotta have a different video card for that. Um, it's rather interesting. Also, it is Cliff Burton Day. He would be 61 from what it sounds like. They it celebrates his life and stuff like that with Metallica and stuff like that. The bassist that used to be before Jason, which if people know that they would, if they've known Metallica, they know that. But anybody that's probably a younger audience, like my son's age, may not know that. He does because I've told him a little bit about Cliff. Um, yeah, really awesome. And he was a part of Exodus before, which is kind of cool. Um, it makes me wonder what things would be like if Cliff was still alive today, and what kind of changes would of course that would definitely change and alter Jason's whole life up to the point where he left the band in, I think it was at 2020, no, 2002, I think is what it was, because it was a few years before my son was born. He was born in 2004, so that's how I can remember it. But anyway, yeah, it'd be kind of interesting to see that. And plus, what would happen to Robert too? Would Cliff still be with the band right now? Who knows? It'd be interesting. What kind of music and how much different would it be? Because he had a lot of influence to a point with some of the things in the band. I'm pretty sure, because it sounded like he was talking to, at least from what I've read, that he had this thing about classical music and stuff like that, and he'd always encourage them to listen to it as well, because, and I'm sure a lot of other musicians may not know that, but that's one of the things I'm sure, well, some people might know, but it does impact the way certain things that they do in their music is influenced. It's rather interesting that he liked the classical music, which is kind of cool. Yeah, so just because it's not metal per se doesn't mean that it's not really good. There's still a lot of different bands out there that are like ones that I've been listening to lately that are not. I don't consider quite metal, but they are kind of metal. There's like King A10 for one. I can't figure out if they're metal or not, because he does do some rap with Yavid and stuff like that. and there's also some other bands out there that are kind of close to the same thing. They do something different. 9 Ice Kills, I think is. Hopefully I said that right, because I'm not avid listener of theirs, and apparently they're going to be playing with them um, on tour this time with a few other ones. Anyway, with that said, with Cliff Burton, apparently they are going to be making a actual action figure with of Cliff Burton, and it's supposed to help the Cliff Burton Foundation for Education. I think is what they said. That's rather interesting. I didn't know they even had one, which is kind of cool. So I wonder if they do like a educational thing for maybe playing guitar. Who knows? Or other things. It's hard to say. Or maybe even classical music, right? Because that's what he definitely enjoyed doing. I would assume this is probably through maybe one of his family members. I'm assuming that they started that fund. So that's kind of cool. I like that. And they're like $55 a piece. They've got quite a few different figured hands. They got two different heads they can interchange with. So you got the headbang, and then you got the regular, then you got all the different things with probably playing guitar, of course. And then there's one with the middle finger in the air, which is I thought was really cool. I said, oh, that's really sweet. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. Now, with other things in the news kind of thing, it's kind of interesting. We got Charlie again with from Anthrax, the drummer. I guess he's getting sick and tired of being judged over his role in Pantera. But I don't know if this has anything to do with what had happened before with I just talked about in an earlier episode about him having issues with certain statements that certain people made and certain signals that relate to certain groups. I'm not going to mention names, but yeah, the controversy behind that and the cancellations of the show. So I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's the reunion kind of thing because people are mad. But I can understand what he's saying on it, but then I also can understand what his friend had said. He doesn't think that there should be. So if Charlie ever does watch this, which I don't know, who knows, he might later on down the road. Just so you know, Charlie, that's what it said. That's what he actually made in a statement when he did an interview. So, as far as I'm concerned, I would go with your friend, even though I know you feel you're doing the right thing. Some people think it's a money grab, so to speak, but I don't know. At least that's what I've heard from people that I know. Because I've asked people, what do you think? How do you feel about it? Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think out there, because I'd like to hear what you have to say. Because is it or is it not? It's hard to say. I don't know. It's hard, it's one of those things. It's one of those, kind of things. Because I'm not certain about that whole deal. I feel kind of in between on that a little bit. I can see it both ways, so it's hard to say. I'm trying to think of some of the other stuff that I've talk about. There was one thing a couple days ago that they were talking. They were listening to previously unreleased Linkin Park songs. Lost. I don't know what the whole thing's about. Complete with a dazzling new anime video. Apparently, that is what they have on here, which is rather interesting. I already talked about the Who. Oh, the main topic here tonight was rather interesting, and I've talked about this before, where it's nice that people that are musicians get to protect their interests with their music and this, that, and the other, which is great because it does help protect them as an artist, right? And there's also the fact that artists themselves should have the right for drawing and things like that, or illustrations that they do for bands and other projects like cartoons, whatever it is, promotional ads, whatever you want to call it, or any other thing that goes on. Me personally, the characters that they create should go with the artists themselves. So if they're not doing but I guess it depends on how the contract's written up. If they agree to do it and say, okay, do you own the rights to it? That I can understand, because not everybody's gonna want to have permission from the artist every single time they want to use the character that they've developed for them. They have an idea what they want, so they have to provide that for them. Well, lo and behold, Megadeth is being sued by the artist that has done quite a few other covers. I don't know which ones he's done. It's Brent Elliott, has done several of their covers in the past. And even also, I think, developed their main character, of course, that we all know and love, right? Um, I'm sure that Dave's had some input on the influence of what it looked like, but because that was his probably brainchild, he probably said, okay, I want to do this and do that, and he would just kind of get a rough sketch, and then they probably refined it, of course, which a lot of people do when it comes to some artwork and things like that. Oops, I guess my phone's almost dead, so I better plug that in. Anyway, so what the article claims is that basically he's been paid in the past for all the other work he's done, except for the newest album, which apparently he has to have a written contract and other and money paid in order to be valid, I guess, to be where he doesn't have to sue for copyright infringement, is what excuse me, what he states. But yeah, it's rather interesting that he's coming about this after the fact a little bit. So is he in the right or not? I don't know. I guess you would have to ask a judge about that, or some lawyers that can kind of figure that out, and what the law states. Um, but I can understand where he's coming from, because you're asked to do a service, you've been paid. Well, you haven't been paid, and you haven't had a contract with it. Well, guess what? And they're already using it. That's the thing. Before the album, well, the album's been out for a while, but it's been a while. I mean, this is like even before when I went to this concert, um, which has been a while ago, several months. So I'm just not sure why the guy didn't say something sooner. It's like, why? Why not? It's hard to say. That'd be a good question to ask him. Maybe I ought to find the artist and see if I can talk to him about it, because that might be a good topic to talk about. If I can't get a metal artist on here, get some of the artists that do some of the covers. That would be kind of cool too, actually. I wouldn't mind doing that, because I like art, I like metal, and I also support those artists that do that, because I think that's really good. I do know one person that has done some shirts for uh, Lamb of God, which I do have her on my Instagram account, which actually would be kind of cool to have her on here. I think that'd be so sweet, because she's done these really cool skull designs and things like that. And I wonder who did the half Lamb of God, half Megadeth concert T-shirt, because that was really awesome. Whoever did that did a phenomenal job. I'm assuming it's probably the same artist that's suing them right now, but I don't know. Or it could be um, the lady that did the Lamb of God stuff. It's hard to say, but yeah, it's rather interesting. So I guess my question for all you out there is whether or not you feel that it's necessary to do that. Well, I mean, do you think he's in the right? Do you think he's not? I mean, technically by the law, he's supposed to get payment, get a contract, signed and sealed and delivered kind of thing for this artwork. So yeah, I would say it's probably in favor of him. So he's suing for quite a bit of different things. I mean, one, of course, the $800 that he's owed, unpaid wages, seeking a injunction to prevent the band from and their label from using the artwork. So I'm not sure if he's getting paid for it afterwards, that he'll be okay with that or not, or if he's just gonna say, you can't use it all, or maybe possibly get a certain percentage of this record sales from that art as they sell the album, like say digitally, or every time it streams, maybe like a fraction of that. Because from what I've heard, that streaming doesn't pay that much when it comes to the whole music thing. It's like I said before in the past, that most of the money is made in the concert T-shirts, the concert itself, and the physical albums. So if somebody buys a vinyl or a record, like a CD or something, or even a cassette, because I've even seen some that have got purple cassettes. There's the Nova Twins. They had a vinyl and a cassette and something else. It's rather interesting. So yeah, it's definitely different. As far as that goes, I think that just about covers everything so far. I think I mentioned about the one band, the Insulter band. Hopefully, I will be able to get him on here. I don't know. With him not being able to speak English very well, it might be a little difficult, which I'm hoping for. He was more than willing to do it. And I've kind of mentioned some of the stuff that he's talked about. So hopefully, maybe if he has somebody share the video with him and maybe speaks it in his own language, that he'll understand. So I'll have to let him know that I kind of mentioned some of the stuff he was talking about. It was rather interesting. Oh, there you go. Best earplugs for concerts in 2022. Protect your hearing and get your ear gig ready. I'll have to check that out. It might be interesting. Watch Cypress Hills perform with Deftones, System of a Down, LA members. Oh, I didn't even know System was even doing concerts. From what I heard, that they were having some issues with the lead singer doing things. So who knows? Oh, I forgot about this. Megadeth is doing a live stream concert, which would be really cool. So go check them. Go check it out. Because if you've never seen Megadeth before, or you didn't have a chance to, this is your opportunity. I think there was going to be something special with it, but I forgot who was going to be there. Oh, they're going to be in Tokyo, Japan. Ooh, interesting. February 27th at 6 p.m. I'm going to have to definitely check that out. So basically, you buy your ticket, of course, your virtual ticket, and then you can actually live stream it in your house. I'm sure it's one of the ones that don't let you copy it, blah blah blah, and all this other stuff. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see. I got to see Korn when everything was going the pandemic, and that was pretty phenomenal. The only thing is that what they did is they recorded it beforehand and presented it as a live content, which in a way it is, but in a way it's not. But it was still a really good concert. I loved it so much. And just so you know, I'm doing a little more research on other bands that I don't know as well. I know there was one that seemed rather interesting. Let me look and see what that name. I just want to make sure I got the name right. Not Earthside. Earthside sounds pretty cool too. Oh, this is rather interesting. I forgot about this one. I just happened upon this one. It's called Nuclear Power Trio, and guess who the nuclear powers are? Trump, Putin, and what's his name? Kim Jong-un. They just play guitar. It's really weird. I'd never seen this before, so I was like, oh, okay. Marrow. I think that's the one. That's the one. Marrow seems like they have some really good stuff. Oh, yeah, right here. Like Tumbleweed and Mumbles, Gravitational. This is like their new album. There's quite a few other bands that I've seen. Locust, I think is what it's called. Lazarus AD. Now that one I've heard before. Metal Alliance. I think that was one I hadn't heard. Nervosa, of course. I'm sure you all have heard of Nervosa. I'm sure most people do, even the people that don't know too many metal bands out there. So I'm gonna end it right now because I think 15 minutes is probably long enough, or maybe a little bit longer, but 20 minutes is definitely close to it, because apparently nobody watches them if they're longer than that. So if they're 15 seconds, yeah, they usually do, or whatever it is for the little video shorts. So I'll have to do a few more of those. I can get more subscribers that way. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and check us out more often, because we need you to help make this channel grow. And I definitely want to bring that to you, the audience. So if I got enough people, wham, then we're all set, right? We got a bunch of people that are interested in the topic. They're interested about knowing about the band members. And with that, those band members are going to say, hey, this is cool. I need to be on here. I need to be a part of that. So they might get a hold of me. I might get a hold of them. Who knows? We'll see. So I really, really need your help with that. So I really mean that, because you guys are my metal family. Headbang the like, headbang the subscribe. Just do it, right? As Nike would say, even though I don't do Nike that much. I don't think any of us do, to be honest. We're metalheads, right? Whatever. Anyway, talk to you later. Thanks again, and hope to hear. Wait until the next episode, right? And maybe, who knows, we'll have somebody on. It's hard to say, right? Take care. If we get enough subscribers, we'll see. Like I said, subscribe.